Hello.
Hey,
What's up?
How is everyone doing? It's Shane, Sydney, Tyler from the Buttered Up Pod.
Swagalicious. We're here to talk the Backrooms today. And I know it looks like, at least Sydney and I look like we're in the Backrooms. I think, Shane, you look like you're in a normal home. But I think
I'm
we're
in one of the
not.
weird rooms in the back rooms.
Good luck.
And we'll talk about that more. Okay. Yeah, no, we went and saw it. Sydney and I saw it today. I don't know when you saw it, Tyler, a few days ago.
Friday? I saw Friday night. Yeah.
Friday. Okay. So
Yeah.
a few days ago. So it's pretty fresh in our minds still, which I'd say is a good thing. But we will do our overall impressions. We'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and we'll do a countdown, and then we'll reveal all of our scores. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 7.
8.5.
8.5?
Oh. Wow. So
I
similar
did not
consensus, I would say.
Expect that. I actually thought it would be the reverse. I thought Shane would like it more than Sydney.
I actually think I might want to rate it higher, but if I'm being honest, there are things I'm a little bit confused on. And I feel like once I understand those things, I will want to rate it higher than an 8.5.
Yeah, so I guess like one of the things is this is like to just like disclose it. I don't know how much Tyler knows about the Backrooms, but Sydney knows nothing about it. I know nothing about it. I just know that it was like it just became a cult classic off of, I believe, just like one single YouTube video, and it might have been Kane Parson's YouTube video. I don't know if that's correct.
So it actually starts as a 4chan post. So somebody posted a creepypasta image on 4chan of just this like random warehouse room. And from there, people started adding stories to it. So if you actually listen to Kane Parson when he talks about this movie, he'll tell you this isn't necessarily his idea. He doesn't own this concept. This is just a concept from the internet that, yes, well, he was playing with it on YouTube and doing different things in Blender, creating the Backrooms. He's not credited as the original creator. We actually have no idea who put out that original picture on 4chan because it's anonymous, so we'll have no idea. I've heard maybe Taylor Swift. I don't know if you've heard those rumors that Taylor Swift is on 4chan. I'm just saying you can't rule out that it's not Taylor Swift.
I want to know what original picture you're talking about.
It's just like, it looks like the Backrooms. Like it's just like a yellowish picture of rooms, I believe.
Because all I ever see are those videos of random like weird rooms and people being like, you feel like you've been here before, and then it's a lots of pictures with like water slides and like abandoned places.
Yeah, that's like all on TikTok.
Seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even before that, even before TikTok, I feel like I would see those things.
Well,
yeah, they kind of run
from this. Yeah. What were you saying, Tyler? Sorry.
No, I was saying the same thing you were saying. It all comes from that.
Which is super interesting. I like that people are just kind of like starting to find these like little things and making it into something. Like I've had enough of these Conjuring 12s or Insidious 14s. Like I'm really excited to see like the gears turning for like maybe some of these like A24 films and like some of the more creative stuff, even though this has been done like a gazillion times with like a bunch of different Roblox games, just a bunch of games. Like people are just making so much different content on this.
So we'll see, right? You Insidious 17. I don't know if they've gotten that far yet, but they are. Kane Parsons has come out and said they are working on a sequel to the Backrooms. So we'll talk about it more. Already? Confirmed. Yeah, he was doing an interview talking about it, but he's already started the early concepts of this. We'll talk more about this concept, this idea of continuing the story in a little bit. But this potentially could become the next series of movies in the horror sphere. I don't know if you would call this a horror movie. It's kind of more, I think, suspense than it is horror, which personally I like.
I would agree.
I don't know, Shane. You had your eyes covered half the time waiting for a jump scare.
Yeah, there were some scary parts. I was scared. I got goosebumps in some of the scenes.
It was a scary movie for Shane, that's for sure.
I'm a wimp when it comes to these things, though.
So if you have not seen The Backrooms yet, what are you doing? Pause, go see that movie, and then come back. But if you haven't and you just want to get some review before you go and see this movie, let me give you a little synopsis of how The Backrooms goes down. So The Backrooms follows Clark, or I always mispronounce his name, Chidowell Ejiofor. He is a furniture store owner. He dresses as a pirate, but also a sultan sometimes. That's kind of confusing, but that's also kind of the point of the character, that he's not necessarily the best at fleshing out his ideas. So he runs this furniture store. It seems like he's recently divorced. They don't really talk about the timing of that situation, or if he's fully divorced or just separated, but we know he's no longer with his wife, so he's seeing this therapist played by Renata Rensvi. Again, I'm not good with names. Apologies to all actors and actresses ever. Her character's name is Mary, and she's a therapist. We find out that Mary has some trauma of her own, which I personally found to be a bit confusing at points. We'll talk about it. But essentially, Chidowell Clark finds in his store that he's having these weird power surges and these weird moments where he's being charged for more electricity than he's using, and the lights are turning on at weird hours. He's also living in the store because he was kicked out of his house by his wife or ex-wife. And as he's kind of going through this moment of sadness, depression, he's got bills to pay he can't afford, he goes to the basement of his furniture store and he puts his hand up on a wall. He falls into it, and that brings him into the back rooms, where we explore this wild, wild world of different rooms and different spaces with different furniture, and the infrastructure doesn't quite make sense. And also, he's an architect, which I don't know if that really mattered, but it kind of mattered. But he's an architect who sells furniture, and that's kind of the spoiler-free synopsis. I don't know. Shane, Cindy, anything to add?
Yeah, I guess pretty much that, but they make a lot of connections between personal life issues and trauma and the Backrooms itself. Like, it feels like it's a not a parallel, but do you know what I'm saying?
I would say that's a good word for it.
Yeah, it was a parallel for that.
And I agree with like a lot of the stuff was kind of like maybe on the nose, like kind of like how he was like a pirate, but he was also a sultan, kind of pointing at his own identity crisis a little bit throughout the movie. Like, he didn't really know what he wanted to do or who he needed to be, with like his like anger issues and things like that as well. There's like a lot of stuff. There's like a lot of layers, kind of like the actual Backrooms, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think, what I liked the most about the film is it doesn't go too far from what the basic premise of the Backrooms is. And I think that's where this film really shines, right? It doesn't add too many unnecessary elements to make the idea of the Backrooms any scarier or more suspenseful than it already is. And I think that's where, Kane Parsons really does an amazing job of creating this world and creating this environment. There's never a point where you're like, oh, he's just in the back of his store. It all feels very intentional and unintentional at the same time. And I think that's just the beauty of this film.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I feel like some of the best moments were just like some of the moments where, like, for example, when the therapist, I don't remember her name, unfortunately. Mary. When Mary was, spoilers, when Mary was chasing after Clark or trying to find Clark, and it was just like the heartbeat, like you could feel her heartbeat. It was like dun 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 as she was like getting closer to the back rooms, and she knew that like something was going on because Clark had already like laid that out for her, that there was some weird stuff going on. So like that was like the best scene, when it was just her going into the back rooms. It wasn't even in the back rooms. It was like something simple as that, just like looking at a blank wall, which I got to credit the actors too. I feel like the actors did a phenomenal job at just like making nothing feel like something.
Yeah, 100%. Cindy, what were your thoughts of the movie?
I mean, I really liked it. I mean, I think there were just a few things that I was a little bit confused on. Like when he finds the backpack and the ID in the beginning, we never come back to that. Like, who was the soldier person running in the beginning?
I feel like that was probably an Easter egg that went over our heads. That like was like something that's like deep in the lore or the games or something like that. Someone can hopefully tell us, because I don't really know what that name was or anything about that. I think it was supposed to maybe just like that. Well, I think it was supposed to just point to the audience like, hey, like he's not the first one ever to be here.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, yeah.
So, okay, spoilers. Let's get into it. Let's get fully into this movie. So, yes, Clark discovers the Backrooms in his furniture store, but the opening scene is another person in the Backrooms and getting eaten up or killed. We don't really know until later, or maybe ever for that specific character, by a monster that is not seen until the third act of the movie. I think that person is tied into the MRI company we meet later with Mark Duplass's character.
Yeah, I agree. Which is he was wearing the same. He was wearing the same hazmat suit, so that definitely makes sense.
Yeah,
and he was trying to radio to people, and he said that he just had never gone that far. It seemed like he had gotten lost. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of other people too.
I was kind of hoping that would be something that would come up a little bit more in this, because I feel like a lot of like the scariest part about the Backrooms is getting lost in the Backrooms, and I feel like that never happened really for any of our characters.
But it's a quick movie. It's an hour and 45 minutes, so
yeah,
it didn't have, in that time frame, it doesn't really have the time to kind of expand on the Backrooms, and hopefully a sequel or a couple sequels will kind of give us more of that. I think this movie it's the first for Kane Parsons. He's 20 years old now?
20. Yeah.
20. Yeah. Insane. They built all the sets physically. So even though the YouTube series was done in Blender, the actual Backrooms that they built for this movie is mostly, I think, mostly practical. So there's only so much you can do. They had a limited budget. They had a limited time frame. And I think that kind of not hinders, but it kept the movie from being able to dive deeper. But with that being said, there's a lot of, he seems to know where he's going, but the other characters that end up in the Backrooms don't. And I think that's where the suspense really comes in. So yeah, in the beginning, he's kind of unsure of what he's doing. But when he brings in the girl who works at the store, her boyfriend, when Mary goes in, you feel that suspense because you don't have any idea of if they know where they are. Even if we kind of know, they don't. And that was done, I think, really well.
I kind of felt like the part of the reason that they never really got lost was a lot of times they just ended up back at the same room that they were in originally, just from a different place. But I think the reason behind that kind of goes back to the whole mental health thing and talking about habits, because that's how they started the movie, was talking about habit loops. And I think the whole thing was they just keep making the same mistakes over again, ending up in the same spot. And so I think that was kind of part of the reason they never really got lost, because they were people sticking to their habits. It was just supposed to be a metaphor for them always going back to the same place again and again and not being able to loop.
Yeah, that's a great point. Did you guys notice that when Mary went in, she came in at a different spot than Clark did?
No, I think the furniture was just gone. He had moved the furniture.
Okay. It looked like she came in from and originally Clark comes in looking at the stop sign in that one room. It looked like she came in from the side of that room. That's what I thought. Maybe it was just kind of weird, or maybe right.
Yeah, I think the point of that was to show that he had, So we'll backtrack for a second. So before Mary goes into the Backrooms, Clark goes to his final therapy session with her, where he's completely frazzled, and he comes with a map of the Backrooms, and he's like, "I found this thing. I sound crazy. have you ever had to do, I forget what the number is he says, but have you ever had to call the police because someone sounds, you know, too insane and they're going to...
It's when you submit somebody into like a mental health facility, I think, against their will.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he knows something's not right. And I don't think he fully believes himself that this is really happening. And he's trying to find someone to go with him, someone that he trusts, but he doesn't really have people he trusts because he's alone. And they talk about that in the therapy sessions. And while he doesn't know...
first 5 minutes, they talk about that.
And while he doesn't directly invite Mary, he kind of wants to pique her interest so that way she will come to see the Backrooms. And while it doesn't happen in that moment, it eventually leads to her going. But by the time we get there, we know he's been in there long enough to form like a full map of everywhere he's been exploring in the Backrooms. And while it's not complete, I don't think you could ever complete that map. It does give you a pretty good picture, which to me shows that he's spent enough time in there, moved enough objects. And there's definitely moments too where he's pulling these objects out back into the furniture store. And so I think when she comes in, it's not that she's coming in from a different point. He's just been in there long enough to kind of redecorate
it. That makes sense. Because I was about to bring up, I was going to be like, well, how did, the two employees follow him if they come in at different spots? But that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
What,
his wife's a loser, by the way, right? Like, before we move too deep into the Backrooms, I'm sorry. I don't know what Sydney, and I don't know how you felt about this, Shane, but I was kind of like, he's not wrong. And I kind of feel like the therapist, I know it's not her job to validate him, but I feel like I kind of agreed with him.
We do know that he could be an unreliable narrator, though.
He said he was an alcoholic. He said that he hurts people. So...
And that he deserves to be alone. And then even at the, fast forwarding, she was like, even the therapist was like, it's always a pity party. Wine. It's never your fault. Never your fault. So I think that was kind of like something that was supposed to point to like him being an unreliable narrator. Well, for all we know, that's just all he's telling us. And I don't know, and just be a nightmare.
I think that's kind of the point. I don't think that she's a loser at all. I think that she's actually working she's in law school to pursue her dreams. He wanted to be an architect and he isn't. I think there's some jealousy and resentment there that he's paying for her to fulfill her dreams when he isn't doing that for himself and hasn't done that and is also an alcoholic and has just comes home and causes chaos. So...
Yeah, but she could get a job. She could provide a little bit.
Law school's a lot.
Law school is a lot.
And we've all done law school. We're all lawyers, I think.
Didn't your girlfriend go to law school?
I think so. I think she had to become a lawyer. She actually is a lawyer. We're not lawyers. But I don't know. Yeah, sure, law school's a lot. But I don't think his points were invalid, that it's stressful and hard to support two people with a failing furniture store when the other person also doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And it's also obviously it's a really sensitive point for Clark that he's not being an architect right now as well. And you can even see him there's like half a second of him doodling sketches of being of buildings and stuff because he's interested.
I noticed his shirt when he was sleeping in the furniture store was building design 1970 or whatever, and it was clearly an old shirt from when he was pursuing architecture, and I thought that was pretty cool that they kind of tied that in, he's still trying to live through his past. And
yeah, I see what you're saying. And I agree. I feel like he obviously doesn't want to be doing what he's doing, and it's been frustrating for him. Which is, I guess, why he's getting some excitement out of the Backrooms. I feel like he's almost high on it. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to I guess, get a grasp of what he's feeling. I feel other than distraught and torn apart.
And I think it's control. When he gets into the back room, he has no control over his regular existence. The furniture store is failing. There's an ad for a different furniture store that seems like they're doing really well, where he's doing really poorly. He doesn't have his wife anymore. Even his therapist thinks he's a loser, and he goes into the back rooms, and now this is his domain. Because for the first parts of the movie, you don't know that anyone else is in there. You think there's maybe this monster, but you don't know what this monster is per se. And he finally has control to kind of his own life in this back space.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And what you just said just made me think about this for some reason. I don't think I really laughed once in this entire movie, and that's not a bad thing by any means, but like I feel like I didn't have any like joyous moments that would like bring me up and down. You know what I mean? I felt like I was just kind of like maybe down the whole time, like just like in suspense the whole time. In relation, like I guess a good way to compare it would be like Obsession. Like, and I don't want to compare the two because they're really different movies, but in Obsession, I was like way higher and like laughs, and then I was like way lower and Scary. And then in this movie, I felt like it was just kind of like stagnant.
I do remember laughing at one point though, and then looking at you, Shane, and you were not laughing or not noticing it. But it was when
maybe I missed it.
When he brought in the assistant manager, whatever her name is, and the guy, and he brought them downstairs and was just seeming like a crazy person with the tape on the door. I'm pretty sure there was something there that made me laugh, because I think it was just like, that's just such an awkward thing to walk into. So it was just funny.
Were you confused at any point over Mary's backstory?
At first, until they dove into it a little bit more, and then we just saw that she was always confined into one space and never really had any freedom. And then like they literally showed us her mom going into a psychiatric ward or something like that. Some sort of like asylum or something. I don't really know.
Because for me, I don't know, and I know I'm just stupid, but I had a hard time disseminating that the young girl was her and not her child.
Me too.
Oh, I didn't.
The same thing.
I thought that was so clear.
I'm right there with you, Tyler, because even when I saw her like
going
she
even had the hand, her own little baby handprint.
I thought it was her daughter's handprint, because
why you saw the daughter with the mom.
The flashback was like, it felt like it was like maybe like 2 seconds of like their face, their actual face, and I just didn't register it. And the only other reason I thought that is because when she was at the party and there was like someone speaking in front of her and she went like this, she was looking directly at like a mom that was like her age and then a daughter. And I was like, oh, she's just thinking about how she wishes like she was with her daughter or something like that. There's no way I would have thought that was her as a kid until I saw those flash forwards.
They even showed the pill bottle that said like Nora, whatever I think was the mom's name, and then showed her. I thought it was very clear that it was clearly a flashback, because especially at the beginning it was clearly a flashback, and then it's showing her as a little girl, and then it's showing her. Huh?
How was it clearly a flashback in the beginning?
Well, because they were showing her doing the handprint thing with her mom, and as she's watching this house get torn down, like it's like just was clearly a flashback. I don't know.
I mean, all three.
I thought it was obvious.
Like the kid actress, the mom actress, and Mary look similar, because I mean they're supposed to be.
The mom looked different,
so that's why I thought that.
I you only knew she looked different when she was in a wheelchair being dragged away.
No.
Which, by the way, who lets the kids see that? That was insane to me.
Why was the kid there herself? Like she was just by herself in the room in a mental asylum. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, let's talk about some of the other things that happened in this movie. So we've kind of discussed the Backrooms. We've talked a little bit about, the relationship of Clark and his wife. We talked a little bit now about Mary and her backstory. But once we get into the Backrooms, it's mapped out. Everyone's in there, right? We have Kat, the camera girl, her boyfriend, Mary, Clark. They're all in there. What part to you of the Backrooms was maybe the scariest or the most suspenseful?
I think the part that I keep thinking about is when he first enters the back rooms and he's just kind of like willy-nilly walking around, because we don't really know what kind of threats are around. I feel like the unknowing is really what kept me on the edge of my seat.
And who does that?
I don't know. I kept thinking, I was like, he's going deeper and deeper and deeper. He is not going to be able to get back. He's screwed. And I thought that was like the rest of the movie was him just trying to get out. But in reality, he just kept going until there was like the threat, like that the bad guy that came and like scared him. And then he crawled into a little door and just ended up close to the entrance somehow. And I was like, that was my scariest part. What about you, Sid?
I think I agree, because I was also getting concerned that he wasn't going to be able to find his way back out. And then there was that talking, who was that? Jesus, sort of? In the statue? Who was the paper cutout?
It was, it was just like a random, like, it looked like it was like almost someone that had like a spear, but it also looked like kind of like Jesus. Almost. It did kind of look like Jesus, I thought.
Yeah, so I was, there was that too. I was confused. I don't understand. Talking
in all different languages, like that little cutout, which made me believe that it was just like something I feel like almost the MRI company wanted to attract people that kept falling in there. And it seems like there have been a lot of people that have fallen in there due to some like clues that we see later on with like the clothes and the piles and things like that. So maybe they just had every language because this has been happening all over the globe. So they're just trying to attract people there because that's where they put a camera. That's what it seemed like.
They were trying to make contact with something. Yeah. It just wasn't clear to them who they were going to be making contact with. And I don't know how many people they've actually pulled out of the break rooms or the back rooms that they've made contact with, because they seem very weary of Mary when she eventually gets pulled out. There's no clear like, oh, we've done this before.
She wasn't really pulled out. That was still in the back rooms.
The scene with Phil where they're interviewing her?
They're still in the back rooms. Yes, it is. You saw him take her to the room, and even in the window, you could see that Jesus thingy, like a bunch of them like this, and like things were all weird.
Well, that's because that was just their storage.
Yeah, no, they were in the MRI business during that interview phase.
I think the MRI business is in the back rooms, is what I thought. Like, because he said that, like, what did he say?
They said he discovered it in their MRI facility, MRI building facility. And from there, they just dedicated their lives to going through the back rooms instead of building MRI machines.
Yeah.
So I think they were out of the back rooms at that point.
I agree. Also remember, I also couldn't tell though, because like even the windows, like up above that she was looking through, I was like, I don't know.
And she even asked him where they were, if they were still in the back rooms and everything, and he didn't answer. He didn't answer
because we don't know. I think.
But that's why I think he was cagey, right? It's more the fact that they haven't pulled. Either this is Mary's the first real human they've pulled out of the back rooms or found in the back rooms and made contact with, or they haven't gotten that many people out, which is why they're kind of cautious over what they're saying, because they're having a hard time discerning what is a memory and what is an actual person.
Yeah. No, it was hard to figure out, I guess, like where it was going at the end, I thought.
I just realized something. I think at the end it's supposed to be kind of like, at one point I think it was on like a TV screen as an ad. And it was, are you actually living your life or are you looking at it through glass? And I think that's kind of supposed to be the ending is she actually living her life or is she just like observing herself? Do you know what I mean? Like observing her life, like not actually fully living it.
I get what you're saying. Why is that what you got at the end?
Because don't you remember the ad that was like, are you actually living your life or are you just looking through the glass?
Was that for her or was that for Clark? Like, who was watching it? I don't remember.
I don't remember, but I don't think it matters.
No, she was.
I think that's kind of the whole point of the movie.
No, but so Cindy, you're right, because she had the audiobook that she was promoting, and she's at home watching TV, and that ad plays as she's at home watching the TV. So she's watching herself in that ad. So you're right, Cindy. What I think Cindy's trying, I think you're saying it very well, but I think to summarize, it's she talks the talk, but she doesn't necessarily walk the walk.
Well, also, literally, is that not just like an expression for what she was doing when she was a kid? She literally couldn't play with kids. She just was looking out the glass because she was trapped in the living room.
She's stuck in the loop.
But she wasn't able to look through the glass.
Which is what you said before. She's stuck in the loop. Exactly. She went from being trapped to not being able to look outside to now being trapped again and not being able to look outside. And when she's in there, right, she's trying to figure out if it's over, if it's done, if she can go home and go back to her life, to go back to the loop that she was just in. But it ends and we don't know whether she does go back or not. Before we go too far deeper, I just need to say my moment that was the most scary / suspenseful. It's okay. Most people do. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. The most scary, most suspenseful moment in the movie for me was the Christmas scene when he's looking at the tree and the memory of a woman just comes terrifying. That was like my biggest jump scare of the movie. And there's not a lot of jump scares, which I like. But that one definitely got me where I was like, whoa.
You know what that made me, like the second that we got introduced to the Christmas room, I was like, oh my God, I'm watching As Above, So Below. I was like, we are literally sitting here watching As Above, So Below.
I have not seen that.
Oh my goodness. You really need to see it. It's about a bunch of French people that go dive in or cave, like searching through the catacombs, and they find like an entrance to the catacombs that's like not accessible, and they get trapped back there, and they just like they can't find their way out, and they're just like looking around, and they have like weird experiences from their past that show up through like reanimations, and it's scary as all hell. And it made me think about that when I was in the Christmas room. So it's really funny that you brought that up because that just reminded me of that parallel.
So was the woman in the Christmas room, and then later in the scene where he has Mary tied to that chair where she can't escape, and he eats the man, which was jarring. Was that his wife? Because we know his wife had red hair, and I kind of wondered if that was a memory. So the Backrooms ends up becoming, what we learn is it's a collection of slightly misremembered things. And I was wondering if that was his old home that he lived in with his wife, and if that was his wife just poorly remembered in that space.
You want to know what made me also like remember that as well is that when we first kind of get that inkling of like it's just like memories, it's when we see the throne and then the two pairs of shoes, which are the assistant's shoes and the camera guy's shoes. Do you think that's because he fell on the ground and like looked at their shoes because he was on the ground and that's why they're there with the throne? Because if that's true, that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe, yeah.
But yes, no. That memories thing, Tyler, I feel like was really like an interesting way to express it. And I don't know if it was his wife.
I mean, he did take the hair off her and then put it on the put it on Mary to do the role playing act. So I feel like it was supposed to be another version of let's revisit what happened, and they're revisiting it in the actual memory.
For sure. It was just convenient that a lot of the things in the Backrooms stem from Clark's memory, like the throne, like the furniture, like the monster that is just him as the pirate character, which was insane. And I did not see that coming. I was like,
I
wow.
I think it's how he views himself. It's his memory of him.
Right, which is why I also think the woman with the red hair is a memory of his wife.
No, I agree.
I get behind that theory. I think that's going to be my headcanon, is that the wife is that woman with red hair. I do. So I did like it being him. I don't know how seriously I could take the chasing scene, seeing a large guy with wearing a pirate costume. I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like there was some points where I was like, the feather in the hat is just not. It's just not like working for it. It just takes me out of it for a second. For a split second. But I liked it because of how jarring it was, how weird it was. So I was kind of like half and half on that.
I don't know. I kind of liked it. And I liked how he was like bigger too, and it was kind of like he has this big idea of himself, and having the captain's hat, like just showing how he views himself, but he also knows he hurts people, which is why it's scary, and why like his version of himself is scary.
Do we know who shot this movie? Like cinematography?
I don't know.
There were some points where I was like, wow, this is good. Like these are good shots. Inside what?
When we were like inside compartments, like we'd be in the light and then it'd be dark and then you'd see him like open it. We were in there, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like we were watching from the opposite.
I liked all the found footage type. That was good. And then there was like a lot of wide shots in this movie that I really liked. Like specifically like when they would like come down to check on the breaker or something. It was just like a wide shot. I don't know if it was like fisheye or what, of like the whole room. And I was like, wow, this is like really good. I like this a lot. Sorry if we don't know the cinematographer's name, but props to them.
Yeah. Okay, so the monster, the giant pirate version of Clark. Yes, that's animated, but it was mocapped with an actor. I texted you guys the name earlier. It is Robert Bob Rocci. He is a 7-foot-something former college basketball player from Romania. And he's also the same guy who mocapped the offspring and alien Romulus, which it didn't click until I was Googling just like some information about this movie before we talked about it. And I mean, insane that that's what this man does now. That he used to play basketball and now they just use his, how can I say this nicely, elongated body.
His stature.
To play monsters and horror movies.
Props to that guy. You know, if you've got it, you've got it. And he's definitely got it, because I feel like there were just some points, like just like the way he was like moving, and I was like, wow, this is like exactly how that monster would move in this situation with a peg leg.
Did you know who this guy was, or did you just Google it after I texted you the name?
No, I knew who it was just because of how much I liked his performance in Alien.
Okay, yeah.
What was it called? Alien
Romulus.
That's what it was. I was thinking Earth, but that was the TV show.
Yeah.
Sydney really liked Alien Romulus as well.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
I loved it too. So props to this guy, and I hope that we keep seeing him in more things. Maybe he'll come back for Backrooms too.
Because he's alive. They take him, they MRI him, I think. Like they scan him. So yeah, it's a possibility. I think. So where do you think we go from here? So the movie ends with Mary in what may still be the Backrooms, what may not be, with Phil, Mark Duplass, who I will never not see him as Pete from The League. That's just, one of my all-time favorite TV shows. So I'll always see him as that. But we end with those two in this interrogation room, and then we see that the Backrooms is just reaffirms that it's a memory, and we see her childhood home just through 5 to 6 different layers of the backroom being misremembered. So where do we go from here?
That's a great question, and I thought about this. They left it really open-ended for this exact situation, I thought, because we didn't see Clark die. We didn't see the bad guy die because you just said he was tied up kind of for the MRI. We also didn't see Mary die just because we saw like the different layers downwards of like what our last memory of her was, which was sitting in that room. That doesn't necessarily mean that was like the last instance of Mary. I think that they opened it up quite a lot, and there's a lot of different stuff that could happen from this specific. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I don't know. I feel like it kind of left a lot of things open, maybe a little bit too much for me, but I'm actually okay with it if they never had a second one, because I feel like they wrapped it up somewhat nicely. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel like if they did a second one, I would really like it if it was Mary going through the back rooms and all of her memories, and instead of the way Clark had been, he didn't really want to change. He wanted to just be able to sit with himself and like be who he was and not actually like heal. And I think it'd be interesting to see from her perspective, like her going through back rooms and facing these inner demons and everything and having a different outcome.
Do we want to see more Mary though?
I liked her. I thought she was good. I think Clark was incredible, but I thought Mary was really good too.
Yeah, I think the acting in this movie, I mean, granted, we really only get 2 real characters who have enough screen time to show their acting skills. But, you know, I think both Renate and Cheetah are fantastic in this movie. And yeah, I think, you know, I don't think we'll see more Clark other than maybe the monster again briefly. But I do kind of feel like what'll end up happening is the sequel will kind of task Mary in sort of the what do you call the storyline for the hero's journey? I think she'll end up on the hero's journey, where they'll give her the option to kind of be an agent of that bizarre MRI company to explore the back rooms more. And I think she's going to say no. And then I think she's going to come back and actually go through it with them to explore more, which will put us more with Mary and more with Phil, Mark Duplass, in the next movie. So I think that's where we go from there, because we know they're working on the second one. So
yeah,
we'll see something again. I don't know when, but hopefully we see it soon, because I enjoyed it.
The other perspective I think that I would like to see for a second movie would be more about the MRI company and kind of how they are part of this whole thing and more of their backstory.
I felt, as to go off of what you're saying, Sydney, I felt as if like the MRI company gave very much so Stranger Things season 1 company type vibes. Like we see them, they're studying something. How much do they know? What's their goals? Why they like, you know, like
I could see that.
You see what I'm saying? And I thought that, and then the credits rolled and it said like produced by Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Who did like a lot of the work with Stranger Things as well with the Duffer Brothers. So I was like, oh, okay, well maybe Kane asked Levy for some advice or something like that, because that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Okay.
I will say, in the beginning though, I fully thought what was going to happen was the Backrooms was going to be some sort of weird like mental simulation kind of thing that he does as an experiment, like in therapy, to kind of work through his trauma and everything. And I just kept waiting for that to happen, and then it didn't. But I don't know. That's what I fully thought was going to happen in the beginning.
Very good hypothesis. That's not what happened.
I
know. So I think we all really liked this movie. I think the 3 of us are definitely looking forward to a potential sequel. With that being said, in things that will definitely not happen. I'd like to play a game with the two of you, and which it could be from any movie. I was going to go horror, but I think we could do any movie. From any movie, what villain would you not want to be trapped in the Backrooms with? Sydney, I want you to go first.
Unless
you don't have an answer, then Shane can go first.
I don't have an answer. Give me a second.
Villain. What villain would I not want to be? I feel like I wouldn't want to be trapped with anybody that has any like psychic like
did I go too broad? Like give me a name.
Not
like
too broad, but like my first instinct is Pennywise is what I was thinking, because just like I know that already being in the Backrooms would be stressful enough, and then having Pennywise like make the room full of blood or something like that, and then I'm falling over and I'm freaking out, and that's not even I'm fighting my greatest fears while running away from a clown while also getting lost in the Backrooms. This is not a good combination for me.
I was gonna say Pennywise, so I'll give a different answer. But okay. Sydney, I want you to. So Sydney, what character would you not villain? What villain would you not want to be stuck in the Backrooms with?
You know, this might just be recency bias, whatever it's called, but I'm thinking Celeste from Roommates. I know you guys probably neither of you saw that movie, so it doesn't really make any sense to you, but I could not imagine being trapped in there with her.
That's giving the same vibes as like the stepmom from what's the twins movie with where they get swapped, where they swap each other? Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, Freaky Friday. No, not Freaky Friday.
Not Freaky Friday.
She's in a lot of swap movies though.
No, you know what I'm talking about, Sydney, where like they're twins and they switch locations at the camp. One of them's British and the other one's not.
Parent Trap.
Trap.
I wouldn't want to be trapped in the Backrooms with the evil step lady from Parent Trap.
Yeah, that's fair. Meredith.
What about you, Tyler?
Meredith Blake.
So I was gonna say Pennywise, but you've already given that answer. So
Sorry
I think
about that.
No, it's all good. The character I would not want to be trapped in the break rooms with.
The break rooms. The back rooms.
I keep doing that.
You keep doing that.
I keep doing that. I know. Okay. The villain I would not want to be stuck in the back rooms with. Kind of out of left field here, but Ursula from Little Mermaid. I feel like just knowing like a tentacle creature was like slithering around over there would be no bueno.
Oh, I got another one. What about the bad guy from Monsters Inc. with like the spider legs? You know,
that'd be, yep.
Oh, because he can go invisible. Oh no, not the spider guy. I was thinking of Randall.
You're thinking of Randall?
Wait, with Ursula too, if a lot of her memories are underwater, you might have to be underwater in the Backrooms.
Not a fan.
Okay, I think we should get Kane Parsons on the phone and pitch that to him and pitch that to Disney. I don't see why Disney would be against using Ursula in the Backrooms.
I can think of a few reasons why they wouldn't give the rights of Ursula to a 20-year-old.
Nah, come on. I think it'd be fun.
I think it'd be fun as well. Yeah, no, that was a good question. I guess like I wonder how he kept getting back. Like Clark kept getting back in the Backrooms, because I thought they would dive into a little bit more of like, they didn't really do that. They just kind of were like, oh, I found the Backrooms. And then like the next thing that we saw was like, oh, I mapped the Backrooms. Like, no, I wanted to see him like I wanted to see like a quick little montage of him like maybe like deciding to use the rope or like spray painting the walls or something like that. Like I wanted to be in the Backrooms more, like discovering and learning more about it. They did do that a bit. I think
that's kind of the point though, because if we stay with the parallel of it being like his psyche, he hasn't really come to terms with anything or been able to admit to anything or really taken charge of any of his memories. And so
I guess I'm thinking like Indiana Jones type approach.
Yeah,
I think Mary would have 100%. And I think that might be the difference. That she might be able
Mary
to
was smart
things.
enough to not go back in there.
It's the difference. The first time.
That's true.
But I think this movie just needed to set the tone for what the Backrooms is, and then a sequel or sequels following will kind of dive into it deeper. But I think this movie did its job really well, which was introduced the populace to the concept of the Backrooms to potentially build out what could be a really good series of movies in the future.
No, I agree. I did have another question, though, that I was thinking about and I wanted to save. Again, I know these are two very different movies, but they're both just brand new young directors, and I do want to compare the two. What did you guys like more? Did you like Obsession more, or did you like Backrooms more? I know they're different.
I'll go first, and then I'll let Sydney go. Okay. I haven't seen Obsession, so I have no comment. But I do follow that TikTok account, so he's very funny.
Oh, Curry Barker?
Yeah, Curry Barker. Yeah,
Curry Barker. He is funny. All right,
so Sydney, go ahead. Tell me your thoughts.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I liked... So I love both movies, but I think I liked Backrooms slightly more because I really like when they kind of connect real life things and fake things and have a lot of those parallels and those metaphors that you kind of figure out as the movie's going and that you're thinking about afterwards. So I think for that reason, I'll put Backrooms, but I think Obsession was amazing too. And I think it's really good that we're having all of these movies that aren't just like big corporation slop.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. This month was actually, or no, not this month. Sorry, we're filming this in June. I meant May. May was like the highest turnout for movie theaters, at least for AMC and Regal, since before the pandemic. So like we're on the comeback. We're coming back,
and we're in this trend. We're in this trend now of YouTubers making big blockbuster movies. Like we kind of had that before, where they took Fred and put him on Nickelodeon, but it wasn't really good per se. But now they're letting YouTubers kind of build their own YouTubers, TikTokers, influencers build kind of their own space in movies, and it's doing really well. So I think maybe we could end on this question here. What YouTuber or TikToker would you like to see make a full-length movie for the theaters?
That's a good question.
And you can't say Mr. Beast. I won't allow it. That's an easy answer. I would
never want to see a Mr. Beast movie.
You can't say Mr. Beast.
You couldn't pay me to see a Mr. Beast movie. There would be more cuts than minutes in the movie.
Okay.
And my brain would explode.
I think I'm not sure it would be a good movie, but I would like to see Shane Dawson with a movie budget make a movie. I think it would be chaotic. I think we would get Trisha Paytas appearances. And for that reason, I think Shane Dawson would be who I want to see make a movie. The chaos that would ensue from that could be earth-shattering.
See, I'm unsure where I want to go with this, because you could give it to someone that's like young and creative, and then it could be like a really good movie, or you could give it to someone that's like young and ambitious, and they like it's a really cool like docu-series, kind of like what that guy Reckless Ben is doing right now in the Lego scene. I don't know if you heard about that. There's like some store that stole a bunch of Legos from an old man.
Oh, and he fled the country.
Yeah. So give someone like that a movie budget, see what he could do. Or counterpoint, I would like to see I'd like to see what the boys from the Escape Pod podcast do with a movie budget. They always say they never want to make a movie, but I would love to see what they decide to do, even if they just blow it. I just give them a movie budget, see what happens.
Sid?
So I recently found this girl on TikTok that I'm obsessed with her videos, and
Charlie D'Amelio. We all know her.
Her name's Liz Cooper. I think she has like almost 6 million followers or something, but she makes hour-long TikTok videos of different ghost things. And I didn't even know you could post hour-long videos. Yeah, I showed it to Shane for like 2 seconds. He wasn't that interested, but they're really interesting, and they're an hour long. Like, you can keep my attention on TikTok on one video for an hour, and it's interesting and cool, and like she just seems really personable, and I just like the way she does her videos a lot. She makes them really interesting. So I feel like she could do a great job.
To go off what you're saying, with like a ghost story, did you guys hear what Curry Barker's next film is? It's going to be a story. So the premise that is currently working is that it's going to be a few people that are ghost investigators, but they actually aren't. They're just scam artists, and then they go into a actual haunted place, and they have to like face the repercussions of that haunting. And it's starring Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, and then Aaron Paul and someone else. I don't know. But those are like some of the main players that are casted for that. And that sounds exciting. Just here, I changed my mind. Curry Barker's a YouTuber. Give him the
No,
budget.
He already made one. I wanted someone new.
He earned my trust.
Look up Liz Cooper after this, and you'll get what I'm saying.
And the Buttered
Sheldon
Up Pod.
Cooper.
Look that up.
I will look it up.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening or watching. We will be back next week. Shane, what are we going to watch?
We're going to watch Disclosure Day, the new Steven Spielberg extraterrestrial movie with Emily Blunt and the guy from Challengers and the new Knives Out movie. I'm blanking on his name. Josh something.
Peck.
Josh something. Sorry, Josh Peck from Drake and Josh. All right, well, we'll talk about that next week, and I'm excited.
I have so many thoughts on this before I've even seen the movie, just because the current administration in the U.S. is possibly going to disclose aliens, and then Steven Spielberg is this movie that's coming out at the same time. Is it all connected, and are they just trying to get us ready for an alien invasion?
Steven Spielberg is paid off by the government. Confirmed.
I mean, look, Stanley Kubrick was paid to fake the moon landing, so nothing would shock me. And on that note, see ya. Follow Sid's Food, follow Thinking Sideways, and follow Buttered Up. Shane, anything to promote before we go?
The Buttered Up Pod.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.